the first half of the program, I guess, we've talked about halftime and reevaluating and the need for coaching and the need for systems. What can people take away from this conversation that's important for their businesses? I think knowing how you run your process should be the first thing you do in any business, right?
Yeah, track everything. First, that's I would say track everything, because if you're not tracking, you don't know what you're doing. If you have a restaurant, you got to track how many people are coming in the door.
Right.
What are they ordering?
Right.
What's your average ticket? How long are they staying in your restaurant? How fast are you turning tables?
Right.
All the stuff, you've got to evaluate all that data. For realtors, if you're holding open houses, you've got to know how many people are coming through the door. How many people are you converting? How many, you know what I mean? All that. So you've got to know your numbers, or you don't know what's working, and you don't know what's not working. So there's a lot of people in sales of any kind that spend so much money on marketing.
Right.
Then they don't know if it works because they never track the data.
Right. Yeah.
I've been sending out, flyers for 20 years. Well, okay. Well, what are your results on that?
What do you mean? What are my results? What?
It's just what everybody does. You know what I mean? That's like, what?
It's awesome to me that realtors spend so much money on these little refrigerator magnet things.
Yeah. And if that's working for you, great.
With sports teams on them, right?
Yeah.
Does that work? Is there a response? I don't know.
I've never done it. Oh, I did it once. And then I thought, this isn't really me. Right. It didn't feel authentic to me. But I did learn from Ninja Selling. They said, if you're going to do that, don't send it out for the local team. Like, we live in Washington State. Don't send it out for the Seahawks. What's your favorite team?
The New Orleans Saints.
Send out the Saints schedule.
That way people will see it on their fridge and for sure think about me. I mean, for sure.
Because it's like everybody's sending out a Seahawks schedule.
Right.
But who's sending out a Saints schedule, with a picture of you with your Saints shirt on?
Right.
And a little, message bubble says, who dat?
Right.
I don't know. Make it fun, make it interesting, creative. And then you better follow up by hosting tailgate parties at your house, tailgate style parties.
Sure.
Watch parties.
Yeah.
For all the Saints shows. Saints games.
Yeah.
Shows. What am I doing?
I like their cute outfits in the show.
You know what? All I do is watch the Saint stations anyway, so.
Dancing Dill.
I love him. Love him. So anyway, I'm just saying, let's, track. And then once I love when a client comes to me and says, well, this isn't working. And I'll say, well, how long have you been doing it? Well, I tried it once.
Right.
I did it for a month.
Right.
Come on. Real estate's 90-day cycle.
Right.
A lot of sales are 90-day cycles,
absolutely.
Right? So
radio and television sales.
Yeah.
If you're not starting with a 13-week thing, you're throwing money away.
Yeah, do it for 90 days, and then let's reevaluate after we track all the numbers and everything. Yeah, and then systematize your processes.
Systems are important, right? You know, at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I talk about it a lot because I grew up in those restaurants, they had secret shoppers, and they would get a QSC score. Do you remember that? Quality, service, and cleanliness score. Yep. My dad, at one point in his career, did that on the side for the Colonel, and he would go in and secret shop these restaurants that were not in his marketplace and give them scores. And I got news for you. You can see exactly how well you're doing if you've got someone with a vested interest in your business being critical of it for you.
That's gold.
Right? Someone with a vested interest in your business, and it could be a buddy, it could be a past customer, but if they have a vested interest in your success, to be truly honest with you, you can be more successful. You were a secret shopper before you got into real estate. Tell me that story.
Yeah, I've done secret shopping for a few different companies, but I think what you're talking about is when I secret shopped real estate specifically.
Yep.
And I don't want to mention any
That's fine.
companies or brands.
We don't want to shame anybody
or anything. Yeah. But yeah, I was tapped to go secret shop at some model homes.
Right.
Yeah. What do you want to know about that experience?
Well, I'm just curious to know what that experience was like, and were the people that you secret shopped obviously following a system or not?
Well, let me tell you about my experience and you tell me.
Okay.
I walked into the model home. I had a story in my brain. I'm very creative, so I had a whole story built in my brain about what kind of buyer I am. Walk into a model home. As you walk in the door to the right was an office, home office with glassed doors that were open. A woman was sitting with her back to me working at a desk.
Okay.
And said, without turning around, "Hey, just go ahead and take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions."
And then back to work.
I said, "Oh, okay. Thanks." Never looked at me, never turned around, never nothing. I believe, in fact, now that I'm recalling it, I believe in my notes I wrote down that she was shopping online.
What?
So I go through the house very slowly. I did that on purpose, really slowly.
Okay.
Right? I'm taking my time. Like, she'll probably get up and come find me. Right?
Yeah.
Looking at all the details. I'm like, gosh, I wish somebody was here to tell me about this backsplash.
This cool backsplash.
Or whatever, you know?
With a pot filler.
I kind of wander my way through the house and probably in the house for 10 or 15 minutes just... And when you're in a vacant house that's lightly staged, 10 or 15 minutes, it was a single level, not huge. That's a long time.
Right, yeah.
And I came back through by the front door. I said, I wanted to help her out a little bit. Is there anything special about this house I should know? Well, it's pretty straightforward. She finally turns around. She goes, "Well, here's a little bit of information about it." Hands me like a brochure or something.
Sure. Yeah.
I said, "Okay. Yeah, thanks for coming by." Okay.
Never tried to get your name. Never asked you questions about you. Too busy on Amazon.
That was the entire interaction. So I went back a different day. Shopped again, had a similar, not quite as terrible, but similar experience. And when I went back, I'm sitting with the owners.
Right.
And their rep.
Right.
And who hired me.
Right.
And me. And, well, what do you think? I said, "I don't do what you do. But if I did, I would fire them immediately." Here's a recap of my experience. I had, typed it out or whatever.
Right.
They were mortified. The rep says, "Let me tell you what your experience was supposed to look like." They had a system.
Oh.
I was supposed to be greeted, given a tour, given a gift, asked for my contact information. There's like a feedback form. None of that happened. So they had a system, but it wasn't being implemented at all.
At all, because they were using it like it was their personal office and you interrupted their work time.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just the weirdest thing.
I've always told realtors, make your model home your office. Go there every day.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open from, say, 10 to 4, whatever your hours of operation are.
Yeah.
Be ready to greet people when they come through the door, but be there for your regular duties too, because activity breeds activity.
It sure does. And one thing that I tell realtors all the time that sit open houses, and they'll say, "Well, I didn't have anybody come." We do talk about, how did you promote it? What did you do? Right. I have a system for promoting an open house, and I rarely get an open house that nobody comes to. And if
that's
I've
because
been
you
there,
invite people.
Yeah, if I've been there for an hour and nobody's come yet, I'll go knock the neighborhood again.
Right.
And hey, just for my own ego, for the seller's sake, can you come just take a look for, whatever.
Yeah.
But so I've got a whole system that I do. And so we reevaluate and make sure that they're implementing the preliminary system. But it does happen. It does happen. You can do everything right and get nobody through that door. I love that we are in a time of social media, though, because I say, listen, if nobody's there, create content.
Sure.
Create content.
Yeah.
Well, I did say, hi, I'm Londa, and this is 123 Main Street, and come take a look with me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creative content. Like, think outside the box. Like, what kind of weird thing can I do that will grab people's attention they weren't expecting to see? You got to somehow break through the noise and the monotony of what's going on.
Right.
I did a TikTok at a vacant open house one time that nobody was coming to, and you were there with me on 46th in Kennewick, Washington. Yep. And I filmed these little clips of me doing different things in the house you wouldn't expect.
Right.
Some of them I highlighted some of the house.
Right.
And
I think you did a push-up on the counter.
I did a plank.
Oh, that's right.
Planks on one of the, anyway, I said, this is, and it was a cheeky little video once I clipped it all together about, what I do at vacant houses when no one visits the open house or whatever.
And funny.
It got good response and it got good traction. It got so much traction, in fact, that my designated broker owner a couple days later said to me, "What are you doing on social media?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, look at this map. I didn't even know we could do this." He can pull up this map of Washington State and he can see like the social media hotspots, like what listings are getting lots of hits. That's what I mean. Not social media hotspots, but what listings are getting lots of hits.
Right.
And he said, your 2 listings that you have right now are have more attention than anyone in the state. And I said, well, a couple of days ago, I did a couple of just cheeky, creative little videos. And I think I put them out on Instagram Reels maybe and TikTok. And I'm not pretending I understand social media very well because I don't.
Sure.
But I like to play with it and I like to experiment. And I would say, if you don't take anything else from this conversation, anyone who's listening or watching, I would say this is the one thing I want you to remember above all else. This life and this work is just one big experiment. So try everything, do everything. And if it works, yay. And if it doesn't, make an adjustment.
I like that for halftime.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a good time. It's supposed to be a good life.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really like you.
Aw.
You say things that make my heart feel funny.